What's up, Axie Fam Parupiro here. This is episode 3 of our disablosaur guide series fighting against different team comps we face in Arena. In this video, we'll take a look at the popular and versatile double aqua builds. Unlike what most would assume, our comp does well against plant aquas because our bug can actually survive taking 4 aqua cards just by playing 1 card. The key is to stall the mid game while we save cards on our disablosaur. Let's begin. Our first game is one of the OG and great players, AK, and we are up against a standard double aqua team with a bit of beast cards teched in since he has one dual blade in his midliner. Then he is using the Biden's version of the backliner. So in this game we are using our damage plant and we actually get a good draw on turn 1. So we can just go ahead and use all 3 of our plant cards and hopefully we get to steal some energy. So he decides to use all 3 of our energy, so unfortunately we do not get the steal, but we are going to be able to deal some decent damage here. And luckily we also are able to crit. So for turn 2, we can either choose to attack or try to kill his front tank with our bug. But usually players tend to try and defend their plants turn 2 to get some value out of their plant cards. So here I would actually rather pass, and we also want to have the energy and cards going to the next round in case he tries to kill our plant here. When our bug is exposed, it's better if we still have the cards to try and kill his plant during that turn. So our opponent ends up passing as well here. So with 4 energy, our plant tank is as good as dead at this point. Here we face the same situation as previously. We can either pass to wait out the plant cards or we can start discarding this turn. Here it is actually okay to start attacking because if he actually tries to split his attacks with 2 attacks in his midline and another 2 attacks in his backline, then some damage might go through our bug, so it is fine to start trying to deal some damage at this point. Also, if he does end up trying to use his plant cards this turn to get some value, then at least we ensure that our discards go through to their mid or back lines. So our opponent actually does end up killing our plant and plays defensively in his tank. So as I mentioned, a good thing here is that at least we will be able to discard his aqua cards because he defended his tank. And he also misplays a bit by playing the watering can first, so he does not end up being able to get value out of his series. Here actually, if we choose to, we can actually choose to not play the bug card and try to stock up with a big shield next turn. However, since our opponent does have quite a few zero costs in his mid and back line, which we haven't seen him use, if we pass here and our bug ends up taking some damage, even though it would survive, and even if we can put up about 250 shield next turn, we will likely not survive because he still has a couple of zero costs to cancel out our stuns. So here I think it's better to play a bit defensively with our bug and go ahead and use the fishknack. So our opponent actually ends up playing 2 plant cards and he gets some value. That was actually a smart play from our opponent because he was actually expecting us to use bug cards to kill his tank. So he kinda guessed that he would be able to use both of those cactus. Though that was a risky play from him, but that was also a well-read play. So here we actually waste our fishknack, but it's fine since we get to kill his plant. So unluckily we do not draw our second fishknack, and even though our opponent only has 2 energy, it is unlikely that our bug can survive his attacks this turn. So we actually have to go with our disablosaur. So the best play here would to actually start disabling our opponent. So we can go ahead and play the Kestrel, Hotbot, and Trump. So even if he kills our bug this turn, at least he cannot pull off the risky fish plus dual blade combo on our backline, which would actually do quite a bit of damage. and we actually should be able to leave him low enough HP that we can kill him the following turn. So our opponent ends up playing 2 Nemo, so he is back to 4 energy at next turn. And yeah, he would kill our bug, and if we actually try to play our cards, the bug does end up dead there. So it was a good play for us. Our opponent has 4 energy right now, but we left his midliner with double disables, and he is currently stunned, so he likely wouldn't be able to do very much in case he drew the midliners cards. But at this point, we also haven't seen him play any sponge, so the worst thing that could happen is if he is saving up the sponge for this turn and plays it right now. If he is able to delay by using the sponge to survive, that would put us in a rough spot. So our goal right now is to ensure the kill, so we can go ahead and play the Trump plus Hunt but Vine Dagger combo to ensure that the opponent midliner goes down, and we can still feel comfortable going to the 1v1 down a few energy, because this matchup is actually advantageous for us. So our opponent actually does not have any sponge. We discarded him before, but there was no way we could know that in the game. Our opponent actually plays quite a few Aqua cards from his backliner, so it is actually quite good that we overplayed a bit, because of that we had the extra shield. Now in this 1v1, we just go with our bread and butter disablosaur play, so that is the headshot, hotbot, and trump combo, and we add the vine dagger for an extra shield. We would be needing the extra shield here because this is likely the turn where he can deal the most damage, because he has 4 energy and has quite a bit in his hand. So here is actually another one of the key moments in this game. Do take note that at this point the top right hand of your card counter should be reading 2, meaning that he has 2 cards remaining in his hand. And then if we take a look at the cards that he played, he uses both kois. So since our opponent is a smart player, he should know that he cannot use his Oranda and Piranha next turn, which means that the only reason he would use both of his kois this turn is if the other 2 remaining cards in his hand is Bidens. So do remember to take note of that and analyze what your opponent's card is based on what he does, because this information will prove to be very crucial in the following turn. Yeah, so standard 4 card from the Aqua is actually not enough to crit us, and he actually ends up critting, making this game way more difficult than it should have been. But because of that crit, actually it enabled me to do one of the best outplays I have done with this build, which I'll show in the next turn. So based from the card status that we analyzed last turn, we know that his 2 remaining cards is Bidens, and that this turn he will draw another 3 cards. So if his deck actually reset at that point after he played his 4 cards, then he has about a 60% chance to draw 1 koi, and then a 20% chance to draw both kois. So going by that information alone, a 60% chance is actually quite high. Then that would mean that we should prevent our death by shielding up, but that is not where our analysis should be stopping. So if our opponent plays 1 koi here, that would be, well, if he plays the double Bidens plus koi, which is the damage play, he would be dealing 110 damage to us. But our opponent would actually also be expecting us to play our standard combo, which is the headshot hotbat vine dagger combo, which would give us about 115 shield. So if he knows that we will be doing that, the koi will not be enough to kill us this turn. So with that information, actually we should be thinking that our opponent will try to maximize his win condition and actually not play the koi this turn, because that is his highest chance of winning. So for example, if I play the the headshot, hotbot, and vine dagger combo here. That's 115 shield, and if he passes, he survives. Next turn, he will likely draw his second koi, cause actually, he will draw his second koi because he would be at a full hand, and that will be 220 damage. So without redrawing 2 vine daggers next turn, we will not be able to shield up and survive that. So that is his highest chance of winning this game. So with all that information, our play here should be to just play the headshot plus hotbot combo, and then save our vine dagger for the next turn, because that is what we are expecting him to play. That would ensure that in the following turn we can put up about 230 shield, and we will be able to survive his koi. And sure enough, he does actually play the double Bidens and chooses to save his koi. We perfectly predicted that, which is good from us. And now he plays the double koi, and we are fully ready with our 230 shield. So with this, we are able to survive, and we are able to secure our well-deserved win. So the key takeaway from this game, guys, is to assess your opponent's win condition and know how we can adjust accordingly. So this is a high level gameplay mechanic that you should learning. And then this is also where reviewing previous videos comes in hand, because this is something that I check immediately after playing this game to make sure that if he actually drew that koi, or if it was by chance that he didn't have that koi. So sure enough, I found out that he drew the koi and chose not to play it, because that was the better play for him to make, and that I was able to make the outplay at that situation. For game 2, we are actually facing a plant aqua with a bit more hybrid, a Ronin on his midline and double talk plus pliers on his backline. So aggressive aqua builds are actually harder to face, since if we lose our plant early on, our bug will be put under pressure, and sometimes we do not get the fishknack draws that early into the game. So for turn 1 here, we don't really get a very good draw here, so we can just go ahead and play our hotbot to disable his zigzag the following turn. So our opponent actually ends up passing here, so let's go with that. And here we actually don't have a good draw, so we should just actually pass this turn as well. So good that we avoid his double carrot and double peach. We avoid all the triggers by not attacking him. So that was actually quite a good turn for us. So good thing here, we actually drew bug cards, and we did not get any draws on our plant, because that would just be a wasted draw. So now we can go ahead and try to kill their plant here with our bug cards. Luckily we drew both Santos. And then since we've already seen 4 cards on his plant, it is unlikely that he would have high shield this turn, and also likely that our discards will go to his mid and backline. So unfortunately, their plant actually has an extra zigzag on them, so we are unable to kill his plant because of the extra shield and healing. But overall, it's still a okay turn for us. So this turn, we will try to kill their plant and hope that we have discarded enough cards from his midline and backline that our bug can actually survive the onslaught, knowing that our opponent actually has 4 energy this turn. So we can go ahead and play both Parasite and the bait to try to kill while discarding his cards as well. So our opponent actually ends up misplaying here. So if he had used the pliers instead of playing the double talk, then he would have had an extra 140 damage from the pliers and potentially killed our bug or put our bug to a last stand. So with this play, he actually loses 1 attack and our bug survives. We are able to kill his bug. So from this point, we have actually already won. Our bug has has delayed the game enough such that we have a full hand on our disablosaur, and since their midline does not have any shields, we can go ahead and do a full clip to try and kill that midline Aqua, and we will actually succeed in killing that by playing 4 cards. So yeah, with 4 cards, his midliner dies. If our opponent actually had played correctly last turn, then we would have been in a tougher spot. But since we are able to kill his midline, and then his backliner now does not have any more cards, we are in a good spot and just play our standard disablosaur combo and we should be win. Our opponent does not even end up playing any cards here because he might have given up or trying to save for a full burst. But in the end, we are able to secure the victory quite easily. So this game was quite an easy win because of a slight misplay from the opponent. But I would actually like to go back to that play and see if we could have played it a bit differently. So at this point in round 4, going back, I think the better play here would have been to play an extra Kestrel plus Vine Dagger just to ensure that we are able to kill the plant. So the logic here is that even if our opponent does end up killing our bug by playing 4 cards into his Aqua, by playing into both of his Aquas, but we are still able to kill his plant, which is the goal. So if we were able to do that, next turn we'd still be in a good position to actually kill our opponent's midline with 4 cards, and then going to the 1v1 we would have less energy, but with the double disables we should be able to still win this game, though maybe a bit closer than what had happened. So yeah, looking back, we could have made a slightly more accurate play by playing an extra energy to just ensure the kill, but we end up winning anyways because of a slight misplay by our opponent, but ends up being a crucial one. So I encourage you guys to actually go back and check your replays, trying to find out how you can actually improve your plays and do better, since this is a really complicated build. So thanks for watching, guys. Do consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed the content, and we are all excited for season 19. But before that, hopefully I'll get the next video out, which would be against immortal plants. That will be all. Thank you.